welcome to the second video of Unit 8, all about geologic history. This one is going to be about the fossil record and basically age of fossils, types of fossils, things like that. So we're going to start with the fossil record, the history of life preserved as fossils. So this is basically just a big list of everything that has existed that we've found in terms of age. So when it appears on the list, that means, hey, it's here. We can use it to date against other fossils that are in the record to try to figure out how old it is, what its environment might have been like. And then extinction. So when it's no longer in the fossil record, when we can't find it anymore, it went extinct, it evolved into something else, maybe moved on to another area of the world and shows up in that fossil record. So just a little rock layers review. This isn't about the rocks themselves, but the fossils in the rocks. So just looking at this picture, which fossil do you think is the oldest? If you'd like to pause and answer, you can. Otherwise, I'm just going to kind of go through it. Which fossil is the oldest? So looking here, we can see that the bottom is the oldest. We know that from our rock layers, from the law of superposition. So the oldest is the seashell. And then describe what this location was like while layers B, C, and D were being deposited. So looking at the types of fossils, the fact that it's a seashell and a fish, what type of land do you think it was, or was it even land? It was probably ocean or water. Describe what this location was like when layer A was being deposited. So we now have leaves and dinosaurs. So this is now more of a land environment. Then at what letter did seashells start appearing in the fossil record? Their appearance started at D. At what letter did seashells become extinct? Now, most likely you'd probably say C, because that's the last time we see it, but who knows what happened in between C and B, but we for sure know that they weren't there in B. So when they became extinct was layer B. So there's a couple different kinds of fossils. The first ones we're going to talk about are molds and casts. And so fossils themselves are the preserved remains of once living things. They're only found in sedimentary rocks. If you remember talking about rocks, we had sedimentary, igneous, and metamorphic. Sedimentary is the only one that had organic material in it, such as fossils. So you can have a mold, just like you'd imagine a mold in baking or designing. The mold is an imprint, and then the cast is what fills that mold. Or mold and art as well. So cast, a mold that fills with sediment and turns into solid rock. It is a copy of the original. So you can see here, this would be a mold, this would be a mold, and then these are two examples of casts. They are not the actual thing themselves. They've just been taken from a rock and turned into the shape of it. So that's really nice because then we can see patterns of things. And then also, if something has a certain crack in it somewhere, we can also see maybe how it died. And then we have the original remains, which are, as the name would suggest, they're the original remains, the original part, the soft parts, the actual thing itself. It's not just the bones or a shell. So you can see here you have a whole mosquito, a whole moth type thing, maybe a butterfly type thing, something that might be related to an ancient elephant or mammoth. So one, they can be hardened in tree sap, which is called amber, and that's very much like Jurassic Park. Or they could be frozen in ice. So lots of glaciers have great fossils in them as long as we can reach it. So we can find impressive remains like this. And then trace fossils. So trace fossils are not actually the thing themselves, but they are evidence of past organism behavior and can show how organisms may have lived. So it could be footprints, trails, eggshells, maybe sometimes even having fossils inside the eggshells, and then corpullites, or fossilized poop, my favorite kind. And then we have index fossils. Index fossils are used to compare and estimate the relative age of rocks. So an example, we have here 3 different cliff sides all around, we're going to say, southwestern America. Looking at all 3 of these, even though they're in separate places, we can figure out which one's the oldest and which one's the newest, even though they all look like they're in the same layer. So, which one is the oldest? Looking here, we can see that there is this fossil A, this fossil C, fossil B, and fossil D. The only one that's fully on the bottom in all of them would be this fossil D. And it's even below fossil A here, meaning that in this layer, fossil D can probably be found down here somewhere. So the oldest would be D. The next, we have to take a look at A and C because they're also in the bottom here. So even though they both look like they're the same age because they have the same types of positions, we know that A is below C here. A is younger than C. And then we have C. C is below B here, so we know that this is older. And then B is the only one that we know is clearly on top of them all. And so that is our youngest or our newest fossil. So this is what your notes would have looked like. Again, the notes are in the week 3 folder. So if you want to look at the notes and take notes, you definitely can. And then I just have a brief thing on types of energy sources or energy resources. So we have renewable resources, a resource that can be replaced or replenished at the same speed it is being used. So solar power and wind power. Solar panels are super amazing and fantastic. If you go up through central Minnesota, you'll even see solar panel farms with just tons of acres of solar panels, and they're amazing. They're not terribly efficient right now. They're not getting 100% of the solar energy. They're actually not getting that much at all. But if we keep researching, we could get better and better solar panels, and that could be a really good resource that we have, and a good tech industry of making and creating and researching solar panels. And then wind power. Wind power we've been using forever. We've been using wind power for a while to create and generate energy. So that is a super great resource as well. And obviously, we're not going to run out of wind and we're not going to run out of sun. If we run out of either of those, we have a bigger problem than energy resource. And then non-renewable resources. A resource that is being used up faster than it can be replaced. So example, coal and oil. So we have some coal, we have oil. It took millions of years to produce this coal and to get this oil in the ground. And so we are taking it out obviously quicker than millions of years. And so eventually we will run out. And so that is why we need to think about what renewable resources we have and invest lots of time and energy into making those even better. Because even though there is still a lot left for us, it takes a lot of energy and money to go get it. And it's going to cause a lot of issues if maybe other areas have the coal and oil that we think we need. And so maybe that's how a couple wars have started. So this is what your notes would have looked like here on page 9, talking about resources, and then a little bit extra on petroleum and natural gas. So you can pause this and we'll look at that if you would like. So after this video, go ahead and take the quiz that this video is in since you're already here. And then there's an assignment on dinosaurs and dinosaur extinction where you'll fill out a Google Doc and submit that. So go ahead and get working on that. Hopefully you had a great weekend here when I'm recording this on Friday. It seems beautiful out, so hopefully it stayed that way. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.